All right, so get this right.
Yeah.
Someone sent us this transcript. It's from a light blast event.
Light blast.
Yeah, a light blast. Never heard of it either until, like, just now.
Oh, okay.
So apparently, we're talking thousands of people all gathered for this light blast thing. Wild, huh?
Thousands?
Yeah, thousands. And it's not just, like, standing around. The transcript mentions people having these, well, intense experiences like emotional release, some claiming physical healing, even get this floating sensation.
Floating?
Floating, I know, right?
Yes.
It's a lot. So I'm really curious to hear your take on all this. Where do we even begin with something like a light blast?
Well, you've definitely piqued my curiosity with this one. Light blast might be a new term, but the underlying ideas, they're not exactly new. We're talking about the power of belief, collective energy, maybe even a bit of ritualistic history thrown in. Think about it. Ancient healing ceremonies, shamanic practices, even things like ecstatic dance today, it all kind of taps into that same well of, well, unexplainable experiences.
So there's a history here. It's not just some modern invention.
Exactly. Cultures have been exploring these kinds of altered states, group experiences, for centuries.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the specifics? I mean, this transcript mentions some pretty remarkable things, like people claiming their joint pain vanished, nerve pain easing up. One person even said they felt emotionally lighter after the event. It's like something out of a movie. Have you encountered anything like that in your research?
It's actually not as far-fetched as it might seem. We know, for example, about the placebo effect. It's well documented. People believe they're getting a treatment, even if it's just a sugar pill, and often their bodies respond accordingly. Real, measurable changes.
So you're saying just the power of belief itself can actually trigger a physical response?
It can. And in a group setting like this light blast event, well, that belief is amplified, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. It's like a collective energy, right?
Right. Add to that the emotional release that can come with feeling spiritually connected, a sense of belonging, and suddenly these reports of healing, even the extraordinary ones, they become a bit less mysterious.
It's almost like we underestimate the power of the mind-body connection, how our thoughts, our beliefs can physically affect us.
Exactly. And it's not just the mind, it's the social aspect, too. These events, they often create a strong sense of community. People feel supported, understood, less alone. That in itself can be incredibly therapeutic.
That's a good point. Speaking of community, I have to ask about this healing broth I saw in the transcript.
The broth.
Yeah, apparently it was a big part of the event. They even shared a recipe. I have to admit, I chuckled a bit when I first saw that. It seemed a little out there, even for me. But then I got to thinking, who doesn't love a good bowl of soup when they're feeling under the weather?
Right.
Maybe there's something to that.
There might be. While I'm not saying any broth is a miracle cure, we can't ignore the role nutrition plays in our overall well-being. Certain foods can absolutely impact our mood, support our immune systems, even reduce inflammation. It's all connected.
And it's interesting, the transcript did mention folks dealing with the flu, some RSV going around. So the timing of a healing broth, even if coincidental, kind of makes you think.
It does.
Okay, last thing from this transcript that caught my eye. The Brain Shot Therapy Cleanse Challenge.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
Well, on the one hand, it's great they're encouraging healthy habits and community involvement. However, it's crucial for people to be discerning, use their critical thinking skills. Just because something is presented within a certain context doesn't necessarily mean it's right for everyone.
So you're saying approach these things, especially cleanses and therapies, with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Exactly. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any drastic changes to your diet or lifestyle.
Absolutely. Great advice. So we've covered a lot here. Light blasts, healing broth, brain cleanses. What's the takeaway for our listeners?
Well, I think it boils down to this. The human search for healing, for transformation, it takes many forms, whether it's through ancient rituals or these modern-day events. The desire for connection, for meaning, for well-being, it's a universal human experience.
That's a great point. So as we wrap up, here's something for everyone to think about. What creates those positive shifts in your life? What brings you a sense of healing, of connection, of purpose? It's worth exploring, don't you think?
I couldn't agree more.